Perth is one of the smartest players in the Ontario Hockey League. Very crafty with the puck. Very sound defensively when he doesn't have it. Native of Gloucester, Ontario, near Ottawa. He's been a real offensive force for the Kitchener Rangers, but oh so dangerous when he kills penalties with Randy Pierce. That tandem accounted for a total of 14 shorthanded goals this season by themselves.
Perth had 8 of those shorthanded goals. That was second in the Ontario Hockey League in that category. The Puma at the blue line can't keep it in. Frazier wheels away to Grieve. Back to Frazier. Comes in with Lindros. And Lindros gobbled up there by Joey Saint-Aubin, who was right in his back pocket. Here's Grieve now to Frazier. Lindros in front. Frazier couldn't tuck it to him. Here's Grieve. And that threesome that resulted in the last Oshawa goal got it in the same way by just buzzing around goaltender Mike Torkia. Here comes Frazier. Crisscrossing with Lindros. Now Grieve tried to center it. It's picked off by York. Here's O'Hagan. Right in front off the skate of Frazier. Lindros to Grieve. Montanari can't find any room. Grieve couldn't get it to Frazier. Lindros now. Frazier still in front. Score! Brent Grieve puts the Generals ahead for the first time in this game.
Great work by Eric Lindros on the boards to keep the puck in. And he gets it over in a good individual effort by Grieve, coming out and backhanding one by Torkia. Brent Grieve is responding to the absence of Mike Craig. The big sniper in this tournament is out with a bad ankle, and Brent Grieve came across the middle and has generated excellent offensive opportunities. Lindros, Grieve, and Frazier are really storming the net and giving the Generals a real consistent attack for the first time tonight.
Grieve gets the goal from Frazier and Lindros. And for the first time in this hockey game, the Oshawa Generals with the lead. They are up 3-2, but still lots of time to play. Here comes Firth. Knocked off his stick by Kravich. Firth back in the net. Dion in front. Dion back to get it. Sends it in front. Nobody home, but a hooking penalty coming up. And it's going to go against the Oshawa Generals.
David Krajewicz reached out. Gilbert Dion was trying to wrap around from behind the net. Krajewicz couldn't get in front of him, so he got the stick wrapped around and hauled him down.
Oshawa penalty to number 5, David Krajewicz. 2 minutes for hooking.
Here's Brent Grieve comes out. Great individual effort. And just puts a low one past Torkia stretching. Look at the exaltation on Grieve. And his teammates reacted about the same moment. The same way Brent Grieve did. Unrestrained joy.
And Brent Grieve, who sat on the bench for most of that 1987 final game against Medicine Hat and couldn't do much, takes an active role in this one. He has a pair of goals so far. But the Kitchener Rangers right now with a huge chance in the power play. They have 2 power play goals already in this game. Here's Keenan. Stevenson shoots. That ricochets off of Armstrong's skate. Donaldson gets there but can't get it out. Stevenson! What a stop! What a stop!
Fred Brathwaite comes through. Difficult circumstances coming in, and he was facing a top sniper, the top playoff sniper for the Kitchener Rangers, Shane Stevenson. Great reflex by Brathwaite, comes sliding over. You'll see Stevenson break into the shot, takes it off his skate, but Brathwaite puts it between his arm and his body and holds on. A great save by Fred Brathwaite. Good positioning. And Shane Stevenson looks for a little divine intervention, but Freddie Brathwaite comes up big under the most difficult circumstances possible for an Ontario League rookie.
1:45 left in the power play for Kitchener. Oshawa leading 3-2. Dion to Stevenson. Keenan shoots, rebound, score! Gilbert Dion has tied it up again.
Chichi Rodriguez would be proud of the move that Dion put on after this goal. But the important move he made was stealing the puck off of Fred Brathwaite's stick and reaching around and putting it in. Gerald Donaldson tried to play net, but watch Dion in front of the net. He literally pulls this puck right off of the stick of Fred Brathwaite, who couldn't there, and there goes Chichi into his routine. Watch him put that gun away.
Scored by number 15, Gilbert Dion. Assisted by number 19, Shane Stevenson, and number 11,
This hockey game is shaping up exactly the way Thursdays did. The first two periods, a very uneven tempo, hard to get any pace going. The third period, they came alive. And I know there's 15 minutes left, but the way these two teams are going, overtime is again a possibility tonight.
Dion on the power play. The Kitchener Rangers with all three of their goals with the man advantage. 3-3, third period, 15:15 to go. And the way these two teams have gone at it, you just know we're shaping up for a great finish.
Thinking copiers. Think about a copier company with a big reputation for excellence and a big service network to back it up. Think Toshiba copiers.
Finally, a cordless drill that just won't quit. The Black & Decker Univolt, with more torque than its leading competitor and more than 100 watts out of power. Only one thing stops the Univolt. The industrial strength Black & Decker Univolt.
The Oshawa Generals went up with a goal at 3:47, and less than a minute later on the power play, Gilbert Dion ties it up.
A good, low, hard shot from the point. Brathwaite makes the initial save, but Dion parked himself very well. Good hands and good excitement and emotion on that Kitchener Ranger bench. As you look at Jack Williams, a fourth-line player, exhorting his troops on, walking up and down the bench, really spurring them on, knowing that it's coming down to crunch time.
And there's that line again for the Generals. Grieve, Lindros, and Frazier. They have been poisoned to Kitchener, scoring the Generals' last two goals. Uniacke clearing it down in for the Rangers. Sprinting in there. Pierce almost got to it. And Stevenson will wheel in. 3-3 hockey game. Here comes Frazier. With Lindros and Grieve. Frazier looking for the trailer. Here's O'Hagan. Torquia. Frazier. O'Hagan shooting. Rebound. Stevenson bashing it off the board. Here's Davis. O'Hagan is belted. Here's Lindros now. In there. Can't get the shot away. And the Rangers come back. Borgo with a head of steam. Fulham tied up back of the net. Craigwell trying to poke it loose. He's got it now. Paul O'Hagan without the helmet. Banica comes in with Basillo. Shoots! And Torquia got enough of that to wheel it away. O'Hagan keeps it in. Uniacke now. Borgo back for the Rangers. We played 7 minutes of this third period. 3-3. Oshawa and Kitchener.
Torquia came up with a great glove save. Looks a little pensive right now. Gives himself a little refreshment. But he came up with a great glove save. And on an earlier play, Eric Lindros is in tight. And Mike Torquia made a great save on him as well. Corey Banica doing some great offensive work. Gets the puck over to Joe Basillo. And Basillo cranks a real hard shot, labeled for the corner. Torquia stretches and gets it. And he's had a nagging groin injury all week. I'm sure it's bothering him now. With 12:53 left in the third period, puts that out of his mind.
Here's Lewick. Kravitz now. Pinching up from the point. Hollis, number 7, gets it loose. Tucks it in front. Hollis again. Hasn't seen much ice time. And he makes the best of what time he sees. Here's Dion. Up there for the Rangers. Trying to knock it loose. Back of the net. First to right. Back to first. Whips it across. Past Dion. Here's York. Shoots. First keeps it in. Here's Wright. Stopped on a dime, but lost the puck. 12 minutes left. 3-3 hockey game. Here comes Stalvey. Trying to do it himself. The Generals on a line change. Montanari centers it right in front. And Brathwaite will hang on. Mark Montanari jumping on that puck. Worked it in front, but Brathwaite covers up.
There's a line that every player must cross. And whether that line is drawn in chalk or paint, on a sheet of ice, or under a man-made sky, when you cross the line, you give it your all. And when you return, Gatorade helps put it back. Fluid, energy, Gatorade. Gatorade is Thursday. For that deep down body thirst.
Well, Paul, Kitchener's really taking it to the Generals at this point. Some good forechecking, some good physical play. Mark Montanari gets right in on top of Gerald Donaldson and gives him a rough ride. And gets the puck out in front for a scoring opportunity that slides by the net. Freddie Brathwaite has to snake his arm out. And Stephen Rice has been a physical player all through this tournament, and he just snuffs Hollis into the boards. And that's what they look for from Rice. Leadership along the wall and in the corner.
Here's Lacuma. Shoots off Armstrong's skate. Stevenson back of the net, and he is stopped cold by Big Armstrong. Here's Frazier. Lindros in front. Reeve is there too. And Frazier just drops it off. Frazier in front. Big poke check by Torquia. Donaldson whistles it wide. Delayed penalty coming up on the Kitchener Rangers. The Generals get Brathwaite off and the extra attacker on. The Generals with the empty net because of the delayed penalty on Kitchener. Freeze comes in with Craigwell. Rebound, score! Now the Rangers are going to argue because they thought the puck had been cut and play should have been stopped.
Paul, the rule on a goal, on a delayed penalty is you must gain control. Stevenson has put his stick out and touched the puck. He did not have control of it. Some referees will blow the whistle immediately, but in that instance, Wacom called the rule according to the book, and the book says you must have control of the puck. The Kitchener Rangers did not. On either occasion, the goaltender made the save, but he still did not have control of the puck. Craigwell, Johnny on the spot, bangs it underneath Torquia for a controversial goal.
Well, I don't know if this goal is going to be allowed or not because Steve Wacom is over-explaining it to Rick Kornackia, and it has not yet gone up on the clock.
It's a disallowed goal, Paul. There's no question about that. and I don't quite understand it. But watch the play here.
Kitchener penalty.
Grieve does a great job of flipping it through. And there, Torquia had the puck, but he did not have control. Previously, Shane Stevenson had the puck, but he did not have control. So I don't understand why the referee could disallow this goal, to be honest. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. There was no control, unless, of course, he simply blew the whistle at that point. But I did not hear a whistle. It's possible it was blowing in the noise, but we did not hear a whistle up here, as we did in the first period when Kitchener had the controversial goal.
The announcement they just made indicated that the whistle had been blown. If it had been blown, then nobody heard it. And I mean nobody even broke stride on the ice. Randy Pierce takes the slashing penalty, but I'm sure the Rangers are just as happy with that because they dodged the bullet with Craigwell's goal being disallowed.
Here comes the big slash as Fraser goes for the net, and Pierce makes that diving attempt and just pitchfork slashed Ian Fraser as he broke to the net. Now it's up to the Oshawa Generals to get their power play going because the Kitchener Rangers are 3 for 3 tonight. Oshawa's got to get one now at this point.
Oshawa is 0 for 2 on the man advantage. 3-3 hockey game. And we have had 2 disallowed goals. Here's Donaldson. Scaldi. Fraser. Scaldi shoots. The puck didn't sit for him. Here's Grieve. Grieve out there with Lindros and Scaldi. Fraser and Donaldson at the point. Grieve shooting. Lindros crashing around. Can't catch it in the rebound. And the Rangers get a little bit of a respite. A minute 20 to go on the power play for Oshawa. Dion took the tumble, and Steve Walkham shook his head no. Keenan. 1 minute left in the power play for Oshawa. Here comes Firth. Up there with Dion. Firth is in front. Dion couldn't get it to him. 45 seconds left in the Generals' man advantage. Lindros comes in with Basillo and Scaldi. And Keenan pokes it away.
Eric Lindros got a little too casual there. He's got to bear down a little more on those scoring opportunities.
20 seconds left in the man advantage for the Generals. 9 minutes left in the third period. 3-3.
A good penalty killing by the Kitchener Rangers. Jason Firth did a great job, and Corey Keenan too.
Here's Craigwell. Basillo in front. Lewick now shooting. Sharp angle ripped by Davis. Here's Craigwell. Penalized players back on. Basillo. One chance. Another chance. Pierce up the middle. He's got it. Shoots. Brathwaite the save.
Great goaltending at both ends. Torquia does a great job, and then Brathwaite comes back and shows how it's done at the other end.
Here comes St. Aubin. Up there with Borgo, but he couldn't get it to him. 8 minutes and 3 seconds to go. A 3-3 hockey game.
Oshawa Generals are very lucky they weren't called for too many men on the ice. And Mike Torquia moves so well for a big man. He's there standing his ground against the post on Joe Basillo and Corey Banica. A few moments earlier, he was caught way out of position, managed to get himself back in. And down at this end, Fred Brathwaite has been so impressive since coming in. Randy Pierce just breaks through a very porous Oshawa defense, fires a very hard shot, and Brathwaite had the angle cut down and didn't so much make the save as have the puck hit him.
7 minutes and 59 seconds to go. A 3-3 hockey game. These two teams met in the OHL final. Oshawa won in 7 games. They met in the round robin of this tournament. Oshawa won in double overtime, and they're playing it tight again. Puck fired wide by Hoffman. Here's O'Hagan. Rebound. And Torquia with the pad pressed tightly against the post.
We talked about Mike Torquia last night. Came into this season at 232 pounds. In January, Coach Joe McIntyre said, hey, you're just too heavy. You've got to lose some weight. He did. He came in at the beginning of February. He played in 37 consecutive games. He's never been pulled. He's played 60 minutes of every game. He's played overtime of a lot of games and has been absolutely impressive for the Kitchener Rangers.
Absolutely impressive and supremely confident. He is on a roll. And when the goalie's confident, it tends to rub off on the forwards. Lindros still waiting to bust loose with a goal. Hasn't scored in the tournament. Here's O'Hagan. Frazier. Tried to get it to Grieve. Lindros straight on the doorstep, and the door once again gets slammed in his face.
Eric Lindros is having terrible luck around the net. He made an excellent play to pick the puck out of the air, knocked it down by his feet, but couldn't get a stick on it. And Torquia comes up with the save as the defense converge on Lindros. But watch Lindros pick this one out of the air, knocks it down, and then can't get a stick on a bouncing puck. And that's been the story tonight for Eric Lindros, is how the puck bounces, not his way. Still looking for his first goal this tournament.
7:22 to go. Firth facing off against Lindros. And that hops up over the boards into the Oshawa bench. 7:10 to play in the third period. And be sure to listen up at the conclusion of the game for the TSN Turning Point. Brought to you by Apple Auto Glass.
Apple Auto Glass, the king of the crop.
Before it spreads and really costs you, get Apple's guaranteed stone chip windshield repairs. Just call
Apple Auto Glass,
the pick of the crop.
I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie and Peter Watts. The 1990 Memorial Cup Championship on TSN. And if you just joined us, pull up a chair and sit tight. It should be a roller coaster ride for the next 7 minutes. Here's Craigwell. Knocked away by Keenan. Dion takes a look. Firth moving up there to forecheck. Jean-Paul David dumps it up. Dion knocks it down. Up there with Firth, but he can't get it to him. Craigwell back out for Oshawa. And Vasillo tied up by Rice. Great strength by Rice. You just get a wrap on Vasillo. He holds him off now. Banica continues the chase to Vasillo. Rangers make some changes on the go. The Generals make a couple too. Here's O'Hagan. Frazier tips it in. Frazier and Grieve storming into forecheck. Pierce coming back now for Kitchener. Here's Montanari. Stevenson to the line. Puck fired by LaPuma, knocked down. Montanari stuffing into Grieve. He battles Lindros too. Uniac. Here's LaPuma now. Van Dyke. And the Generals come back out. Frazier with it. Lindros and Grieve with him. Grieve breaking through, but LaPuma gets a handle on it. In front. Here's Grieve. Centers it. Nobody home. Lindros will go after it now. Beats LaPuma. Gets it in front. And past everyone. Montanari. Outside on Donaldson, sharp angle, rebound. Pierce got a weak one that was kicked away by Brathwaite. Lewitt comes back now. They go back and forth. Lewitt, Lindros, shooting. What a stop! That was labeled for the top shelf. And yeah, flash the applause sign after a stop like that.
At McCain, we wanted to tell you right on the pack about our new, improved, easier, faster, bigger, thicker, juicier, flame-broiled, 100% pure beef burger with crispier, more golden fries, but it just wouldn't fit on the outside. But on the inside, the McCain new, improved, easier, faster, bigger, thicker, juicier, flame-broiled, 100% pure beef burger with crispier, more golden fries fit just fine and tastes better than ever. McCain Superfast Microwave Burger and Fries, now better than ever.
Freddie Brathwaite comes up with a real big save a few moments ago on Mark Montanari, who breaks around Gerald Donaldson, and a very quick release. Brathwaite way back in the net, and then they came right back down to the other end as Brathwaite kicks out a second one there. Eric Lindros steps over the blue line. The big guy cranks the shot, got a great shot, but this time Torquia just beats him clearly, as there was a good guy, McIver, in front of the net running interference. Torquia snaked out the glove. Good concentration, good goaltending.
Four minutes and 45 seconds left in regulation. It's 3-3. Borgo hooked up there by Lewick. Keenan will keep it in. Big shot by Fulham, and Brathwaite down to stop that. Jumping after it, but Keenan heads him off in the pass. And icing called on the Kitchener Rangers with 4 minutes and 9 seconds left.
Now, Paul, Jason York, the defenseman for the Kitchener Rangers, almost got burned at the blue line. The puck came down. Mike Torquia looked to be a busy man there. York pinched in at the blue line. The puck went right by him. Oshawa broke down, but couldn't finish off.
And Rick Kornackia wearing a bit of a pass back at the bench.
At this point, Joe McDonnell knows 4:09 left. They're getting dangerously close to this being sudden death in regulation time. Two teams that have played so even and so inspired.
Here comes Stephen Rice. Firth catches up, and Rice can't get the pass to him. Corey Banica in with Basillo. Banica shoots. Banica busting into the corner. Craigwell with Basillo in front. Craigwell, that stops. A wall of blue to get that puck through.
Excellent defensive work by Jason Firth, I believe, who got in front and blocked that shot by Craigwell.
Here comes Basillo now. Craigwell's trailing. Basillo, Craigwell's there. Couldn't get to it. And this third line, Basillo, Craigwell, and Banica doing some damage. Here's Craigwell in front with Basillo. Puck knocked away by York. And Craigwell stiffed by Corey Keenan.
Got a straight arm in the face on that one.
Here's Ian Fraser. Back out there with Lindros and Grieve, the big gunners. Grieve trying to walk his way in. Pierce back there. Fraser right in his tail. Grieve comes back in the game. And Keenan will clear it out over into the Kitchener bench. 2:33 left, and the Vice tightening a little bit more on Torquia and Brathwaite.
Well, they're the last line of defense with 2:33 left. The error right now is a critical one. And what a script for Fred Brathwaite to come in. I'm sure at some point he must feel like Alfred Hitchcock did the script, psycho or thriller of some kind. Because here's an OHL rookie, played half a season with the Generals, coming in under the most extenuating circumstances, taking over for Kevin Butt in the second period when Butt went out with a badly bruised ankle.
2 minutes and 33 seconds to go. The teams exchanged goals in the first period, the second period, and so far in the third.
Oshawa's had much better success since they've gone to a more rigid format. They're playing 3 lines right now. They've got the big line going with Brent Grieve, Ian Fraser, and Lynn Ross. They've got Banica, Basillo, and Craigwell going really good. And now they've got Scaldy's line out there, Scaldy and Lewick, and they've been rotating that left winger amongst the other 4th line players.
And the left winger right now is Trevor McIver. Donaldson up around the boards to Lewick. LaPuma up after him. Richard Borgo's up there for check. He crunches into Armstrong. Got there too late to get the puck, though. Donaldson up to Lewick. Here comes McIver. Scaldy going for the net. McIver with a rocket. And the blocker of Torquia redirecting that streamer over the glass.
A very quick release by Trevor McIver. Very deceptive. Now here's a guy we call him a 4th line hockey player. And he lets off a very quick shot here that Torquia, and it's a great job of getting the blocker off on it. But McIver played a lot on this hockey team until Lynn Ross and Lewick arrived. And he does some nice offensive stylings here where he gets off a shot. Looks like it was deflected by the Kitchener defenseman. Torquia gets his arm up there. Puck goes out of play, but good work by Trevor McIver. And that's the depth that the Oshawa Generals can count on. A 4th line player who played a lot early in the season.
2:01 to go. And that pesky 3rd line out there again for Oshawa. Banica, Basillo, and Craigwell. And the Rangers don't get called for icing this time. Firth up there after it. Pierce knocks it loose. Wright's there too. York shoots. Here's Wright. Craigwell. Clears it in with a minute and a half to go. Basillo up there to forecheck. Here's O'Hagan. Craigwell up the line and didn't quite keep it in.
Paul, the Kitchener Rangers have made some adjustments too. They've got Randy Pierce playing on a line now with Firth and Wright. And the reason for that is Pierce has been the real guy going on the Montanari and Stevenson line. But Firth and Wright have been 2 of the most outstanding players for the Rangers. So he decided to load them up in that case with 1:21 left and try and get something going. These are the guys that have been doing the damage for the Kitchener Rangers tonight. Firth, a dangerous man.
And Joe McDonnell has juggled his lines around for the whole tournament. And Rick Kornacki, the Oshawa coach, has been pretty consistent, but forced to juggle with Mike Craig, the tournament's leading scorer, and obviously Oshawa's not in this game. A minute 15 to go in regulation time, 3-3, icing called on the Kitchener Rangers.
Well, Paul, I like the way that Kitchener's playing here. Now, not necessarily that icing call, but Kitchener is pinching in. They're being aggressive. They're coming up when the puck is in the Oshawa end. Joe McDonnell's team is not laying back. They're going for it. They want to win this hockey game. They don't want to extend this and have it go all night. They've got nothing to lose at this point. They're the underdog. They're going for all the marbles.
Rick Kornacki said the other night after the Generals won in double overtime over Kitchener that because of the good shape his team is in, the longer the game went, the more of an advantage he felt it was. Although I'm sure he could do without overtime tonight. 1:13 to go. Lindros facing off against Jason Firth. Armstrong can't keep it in. Pierce almost weaves his way through. Less than a minute to go. Here comes Lindros. Shoots. That's blocked. Grieve in there. Grieve, Fraser, and Lindros. Armstrong shoots. That's off the side of the net. Grieve is after it. Here's Fraser. Lindros tied up, couldn't get to it. Grieve knocks it down, straight in front of the net. Fraser almost got his stick on it. Rice trying to get it out. Generals pressuring, 30 seconds left. Grieve in front, knocked away. Firth gets it out. And the Rangers come back 2-on-2. Here comes Pierce. In front, Grieve back there to break it up. 15 seconds left. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds. And don't Don't go anywhere. We got OT for you.
Paul, it's the 4th overtime game of this 1990 Memorial Cup tournament. That is a record. It was a record going in tonight, having 3 overtime games. And there's been 4 finals since 1972 where they've had overtime. They're going to make it 5 tonight, and I suppose it's only fitting that after a season where the Oshawa Generals and the Kitchener Rangers played 7 games to decide the Ontario League champion, they went into double overtime to decide who would get the automatic berth in the final in Thursday night's game, that we go to overtime once again to settle the national champion of Canada for all, the Canadian Hockey League.
5 points separated these two teams during the regular season. 1 game separated these two teams in the playoff. 1 goal separated them in the round robin. And now, 1 goal will crown the champion.
The Oshawa Generals just wait for an opportunity to get to their dressing room.
3-3 the score after regulation time. OT is on deck.
If you like a taste that's fresh and crisp. If you want a beer that's brewed the Rocky Mountain way. Reach for the silver bullet. It's got that clean, clear taste that goes the distance.
It's hanging tough under the hoop. It's driving the lane. It's high flying and do or die time. And it's usually decided in the last second. It's NBA playoff time, and TSN is there with excitement as the NBA marches toward a world championship. TSN is courtside with conference semifinals. Tip it off live Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern. The NBA, fantastic, especially when it's here on TSN.
A car has to be serviced properly. It has to be maintained properly. And at Goodyear, we do that.
Mark Haynes is a tune-up specialist for Goodyear.
We do engine diagnosis. We do fuel injection. We do electronics diagnosis. We do tune-ups. We do brakes. We do suspension work. We don't just do tires anymore.
The Goodyear Diagnostic Tune-Up. Signed, sealed, and certified by Goodyear.
We know what we're doing. We get the job done. And we stand behind it. That's what Goodyear Certified Auto Service means.
The latest, the fastest, the safest. It's the best show on 2 wheels. Canadian Motorcycle Rider is every Wednesday and only on TSN.
It's Kitchener 3 and Oshawa 3. After 60 minutes of hockey and 3 periods weren't enough, we're headed for overtime at Cop Coliseum in Hamilton. And very quickly, Dave King, coach of the national team, has stopped by, an interested observer. What are your thoughts about what you've seen tonight?
Well, it's been a great hockey game. I think that you've seen 2 teams give a tremendous effort out there, and Kitchener in particular, coming back after a real tough game last night, has played very well. Oshawa's got a tremendous team, and I think it's been, again, a very entertaining Memorial Cup final.
Dave, I thought that Oshawa would come out flying in the first period. They seemed to be a little bit off balance or something, and the Rangers played very well and put Oshawa on the defensive, and it's been a battle for the Generals.
I give Kitchener some credit in that first period. I thought they played a real strong game. I think that we expected that Oshawa might be able to come out and really establish the tempo and kind of wear Kitchener out, but the Rangers came out and played a real strong and smart period. And, of course, all along, they've got great goalkeeping from Churchill. He's played very well, and he's been kind of the story of the tournament so far.
I'm sure you've been in a situation in the past where a goalkeeper went down and you had to put your backup in, and were you fortunate enough to get the kind of performance out of your backup that Rick Kornacki has gotten out of Freddie Brathwaite in this game?
Yeah, I've had it happen to me, and I tell you, a lot of times when you get into big games, those goalies come in and do a great job, and this fellow's done an outstanding job tonight. It's been excellent on both ends of the rink, and I think that the fans here are really getting a tremendous game. After the 5-4 game that was played early in the week, it was hard to think of a game that might be close to it, but this has been a very exciting game.
Compare it with last year. You were at Saskatoon. What were your thoughts about this game vis-a-vis that one and the closeness of play with two teams from the same league in both cases?
Last year you had a little bit of contrast. You had Swift Current that's got a very good offensive team, really an exciting team to watch, and tremendous. And Saskatoon played a very good kind of a defensive style of game, and it was an excellent game, but a real contrast. This year you've got two teams in the final that play similarly, you know, in the way they play the game, and both teams have got some big, strong forwards. They've both got good goalkeeping, and it's been very much a game of a battle in the corners, a battle along the boards. The finesse part of it tonight's been at times a little bit missing, but these kids have played a lot of hockey this week, and it comes down now to doing the little things well and really battling for those loose pucks. And probably the key to the overtime will be territorial play. If you can make them play more on their side of the red line, you got a chance to win.
I know that you've always taken great care not to disturb hockey players during their junior careers, but you do have a national team that you're responsible for. You are building toward Albertville in 1992, and you are obviously looking for players. Do you see some people here that might be able to help you?
There's some great players here. I'd like to have a lot of these players in our program, but right now we are waiting till the season's over. We'll approach some players about our program, and there are some fine players here that I think can play international hockey and do well. And of course, a lot of these players played for D. Chiron this year when they won the World Junior Championship. So it indicates that junior hockey is producing a lot of very talented young players, and certainly we hope that our program would be an option for these kids.
The other thing we have to ask you, because you are here, of course, is all of the rumors that surround the future of Dave King and whether you want to stay with the Olympic program or whether there are some other opportunities to pursue. What can you tell us, if anything, about that?
First of all, Peter, thanks very much for that question. Really, I think the key probably is that there's just a lot of rumors. At this time of the year, it just seems like when you come down to the Memorial Cup, there's a lot of things going around with a lot of people and a lot of different teams, and you know, there's just nothing to it really. We're with the national team, he and I. We're enjoying it very much, and we've got our work cut out for us, but that's the exciting part of it.
Thank you very much for that answer.
Thank you, Peter.
Dave King, head coach of our national team, an interested observer here at the 1990 Memorial Cup. He and I and all of you have seen a terrific hockey game, and it's not over yet. 3-3, Kitchener and Oshawa after 60 minutes. More to come from Cup Coliseum in Hamilton. You stay with us.
This update is brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the best to you each morning.
Great game going on at Cops Coliseum. Stay tuned, still much more to come, but also great game in Phoenix early on today. The Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers. The Suns leading that NBA playoff series 2-1. They could really get a stranglehold on the series with a win earlier this afternoon. And some Laker fans actually made the long trip to Phoenix to watch the game. And they're treated to Kevin Johnson. What a great show. KJ drives the hoop, draws the foul, makes the basket. Suns led 30-20 over the Lakers. Tom Chambers in the act as well. Suns on the 3-on-1. Chambers with the jam. 38-24 Suns. And finally, Kevin Johnson hits Mark West under the net. West with the jam. Suns by 14 in the third quarter. The Lakers make a run. Magic Johnson back to Michael Cooper. Cooper pulls up, hits for 3. Suns led by 4. 5 minutes left to go in the game. But Kevin Johnson turns it on. Going through the double team, makes the shot, drawing the foul. The Suns led 97-90. And are you ready for this? They hung on to win it at home, 114-101. The Phoenix Suns now lead the series 3-1. The Lakers could be gone from the playoffs. In New York, Detroit looks like they're going to be moving on. The 102-90 victory. They lead the series 3-1. And Chicago over Philadelphia, 111-101. The Bulls look like they'll move on as well. We're going to take a quick break and then take you back to Cubs Coliseum for more Memorial Cup action.
Promise in the sunshine, take a hope in every morning. Once you taste the golden place, you know get lost home. There's a promise in the sunshine, our best to really
Jason York in the first period, Joey Saint-Aubin in the second, Gilbert Dion in the third, all on the power play for Kitchener. Bannica in the first, and goals by Brent Grieve in the second and third, all even at 3 apiece after 60 minutes of play, and we will need yet more time to decide the 1990 Memorial Cup. Upstairs now, here's Paul Romanar.
Well, this was the scene when these two teams met during the round robin. double overtime. 4-4? No, make that 5-4. Dale Craigwell with the game-winning goal early in the second period of overtime. And I just wonder how much that goal, that moment, is playing in the minds of the Kitchener Rangers. I mean, we mentioned it off the top of the show, but it is uncanny, the closeness of the games between these two clubs, but always Oshawa seems to come out on the good end of the stick, at least the last 3 weeks or so.
Well, if you're an Oshawa General, that's the kind of visualization you want. They believe very strongly, Rick Kornakia's team, in visualizing your success, and I'm sure they're thinking about that goal. The Rangers, on the other hand, are a team that are not. They're obliterating the memory of that. They're saying, hey, guys, we played them 60 minutes today. We're even again. Now it's our turn. The law of averages is going to catch up. It's finally going to be our turn to go out there and do some damage and knock the Oshawa Generals out and win the Memorial Cup.
It's been funny watching both of these teams kind of adjust and readjust through the course of the game. The Generals looked totally off track at the start without their leading scorer and the tournament's leading scorer, Mike Craig, in the lineup, and they have adjusted to that.
They certainly have. They were going with the 4 lines for a while, and they seemed very confused. On their line changes, they looked awful. They did not look like the Oshawa Generals we've seen all the way through this tournament. But late in the second period and into the third period, they started going back with 3 lines. They started getting a little unity going, and they played the way the Oshawa Generals have been playing in the final of the OHL Championship as well as this Memorial Cup.
The Kitchener Rangers, on the other hand, I mean, a number of names jump out as the guys who've excelled. Mike Torquay, obviously, being first and foremost on the list. He has just sparkled in goal. But Randy Pierce, number 23, if I had to pick a guy on Kitchener who's going to win it for them in overtime, that'd be the guy, because he's had a couple of great chances.
He and Jason Firth have had an outstanding game. They do so much damage when they're out there killing penalties, but now they've become a force at even strength. They weren't doing that against the Laval Titan in the semifinal, but they've started doing it in this game against the Oshawa Generals. And I think the Kitchener Rangers deserve an enormous amount of credit. They've had a very tough road to get here. They had that long double overtime game on Thursday. They had to come back on Saturday, emotionally drained, and crank it up again against the Laval Titan while the Oshawa Generals got some rest time. They had a very tough physical game. Again, a 1-goal game coming down to the edge. Very difficult. You're facing elimination if you lose. That's an emotional strain on the Kitchener Rangers. And here they are coming back again. They played 60 minutes of hockey, dead even again. Absolutely unbelievable. What a finish to this tournament.
So I got to think Pierce is going to score for Kitchener. If the Generals win it, I'll pick number 11, Corey Banica. How about you?
I'm going with Brent Grieve for the Oshawa Generals. He's got 2 goals. He's going for the hat trick. That line's playing very well. And I have to believe on the Kitchener Rangers, Jason Firth has had all sorts of opportunities. And if Pierce doesn't get it, Jason Firth will.
So who do you think is going to do it? Take your best guess, and the answer will unfold in the next, 20 minutes or so. Here's Peter Watts.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. A good hockey game, and it's not over yet. The 1990 Memorial Cup final goes to overtime. And a point to remember, no team in the history of this tournament has ever been able to go unbeaten through it. Oshawa Generals trying to be first, but they have work to do.
Listen carefully. This man is using an amazing electronic breakthrough that lets him hear a pin drop across the room. It's the Whisper 2000. Gives you the astonishing experience of super hearing. No more embarrassing complaints when you watch TV.
Honey, please, can you turn that down? I can't even think.
Look, adjust the volume for your personal listening. With Whisper 2000, you don't have to turn up the volume or ask anyone to repeat themselves. This state-of-the-art breakthrough lets you adjust volume to hear better than anyone in the room. You can even hear a whisper 100 feet away.
Don't worry, they can't hear me at all.
And pick up sounds you'd never hear. It's hard to hear in the back seat of the car.
I can't hear from back here.
Now sit back, tune in, and talk comfortably.
Can you hear me back there?
Loud and clear.
Use Whisper 2000 in theaters and meetings.
Brenda,
I love you. Choir up there.
You'll hear every word clearly, comfortably, no matter where you're sitting. Acoustic electronics are so sensitive, agents use this kind of device for surveillance. Sportsmen and bird watchers use it to hear noises too low for the human ear. The microphone is so sensitive, you can actually hear a whisper 100 feet away.
And you'll understand better.
Or conversation at another table, disguised as a pocket-type radio. This latest breakthrough in sound amplification allows you to clearly hear anything you choose.
He's so good looking.
Similar high-tech devices sell in fine catalogs for $60 and more. But it's yours on this special TV offer for just $19.95. Order the Whisper 2000 now. Discover for yourself the thrilling experience of super hearing. Have your credit card ready and call now for rush delivery. Here's how to order.
To order, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-248-2211 or send check or money order for $24 plus $4 shipping and handling to Whisper 2000, 1500 American Way, Roanoke, Virginia. But for fastest delivery, use your credit card and call toll-free 1-800-248-2211. Sorry, no CODs accepted.
Oshawa and Kitchener exchanging goals in the first period, exchanging goals in the second, and they did the same in the third. This was the Oshawa goal. Brent Grieve with his second of the game and third of the tournament. Ian Frazier and Eric Lindros grabbing the assist at 3:47. Less than a minute later, the Kitchener Rangers tied it up, and they did it on the power play. They have scored every one of their goals in this game with the man advantage. And this is Gilbert Dion on the rebound. Corey Keenan picking up the assist at 4:37. And the Kitchener Rangers back into it. That is how they stayed. And that is where they are. And here is where we are with about 17,000 other folks getting set to watch OT.
Well, a great finish, Paul. And it's trivia time. The fastest overtime goal, 20 seconds, belonged to Keith Crowder in a victory, Peterborough's victory, May 10th, 1978, against the New Westminster Bruins. I don't think it's going to end that quickly tonight. I feel safe in going out on a limb.
Well, you know, if this feels kind of, well, familiar to you, it should. Last year in the Memorial Cup Championship game between Swift Current and Saskatoon, they went into overtime. And in that game, it was Tim Tisdale of Swift Current scoring the winner in OT. And the Swift Current Broncos won the All-Western Final over top of Saskatoon. One year ago in the championship game, OT, and 1 year later, Oshawa and Kitchener set to face it off in overtime at the Cup Coliseum.
Well, that scene, or one like it anyways, involving the Kitchener Rangers and the Oshawa Generals is going to be repeated sometime very shortly. We have a bit of a hold-up as the linesman attempts to get a squeegee. We talked about that early in the third period. Lots of water laying down at that spot to the left of Freddie Brathwaite. In the last period, there was water to the left of Mike Torchia, and it almost cost a goal for the Kitchener Rangers. And I'm sure Freddie Brathwaite said, there's no way I'm going to come in here and go swimming. You've asked me to do enough coming into this game. I do not want to be laying in a puddle of water.
Well, reflecting back on this game, things didn't look too bright for the Oshawa Generals when Kevin Butt, their #1 goaltender, the goaltender who'd carried them all the way through the playoffs, injured his knee in the second period on a Joey St. Aubin goal, about halfway through the second period. Fred Brathwaite coming in off the bench and doing a job for Rick Kornacki and company. And we are heading into OT.
Well, you can see why the Generals are so confident in Brathwaite. He played in 20 regular season games, had a 2.91 goals against average, outstanding in numbers, and an 11-2-1 record. In the playoffs, he did get into 10 games, none of them in the final against Kitchener, but had a 2.93 mark, a 4-2-0 record. It's going to be a great finish here tonight.
Kitchener, Oshawa, sudden death overtime. I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie and Peter Watts at the Cup Coliseum. The 1990 Memorial Cup Championship is about to be decided. Frazier up to Brent Grieve. And Mike Torchia will hang on. And no surprise that Rick Kornacki has started off with that great triumvirate of Lindros, Frazier, and Grieve.
Torchia is going to have to be very sharp in the early going because this line has done so much damage tonight. Brent Grieve is a study in intensity. There's various ways of describing a guy of being tough. This guy had 6 teeth knocked out, spent 5 hours in a dentist's chair on a Saturday, and went and played on a Sunday during the regular season. He's a tough customer.
And so too is Ian Frazier facing off. Lindros in front. And the pass went off the skate. LaPuma clearing it in. Brathwaite up off the board. Here comes Frazier. In with Lindros. Lindros going for the net. Grieve is up there too. Frazier shoots. Torquia the stop. Montanari along the boards, can't get it out. Uniacke almost cocked it up. Uniacke again. Lindros all over him. And now the Rangers will start out. Dion gets it in over the line. It gets past Rice. Craigwell back. Here comes Banica. Banica still with Basillo and Craigwell. Donaldson shooting. That's stopped by Torquia. Basillo right on it in the corner. And now here's Stevenson. See if the Rangers can get something going. Stevenson shoots. A missile comes flying off the glass. What a shot by Stevenson.
Shane Stevenson is the game breaker for the Kitchener Rangers. He's the kind of guy who scored one overtime goal for the Rangers already, putting Kamloops out. He almost got another one there.
Stevenson has a game winner and a game tying goal in this Memorial Cup tournament. Joey St. Aubin tackles his man, and the puck is underneath there somewhere.
Joey St. Aubin playing well at both ends of the ice for the Kitchener Rangers. Did a good job of tying up Bill Armstrong down behind the net, getting a crucial face-off in the Oshawa end. And at this point, when you're in sudden death or sudden victory, take your pick. It's outstanding if you can get a face-off in the other end. Mark Montanari gets taken into the boards very heavily there. He gets smashed up by Basillo, and then takes a little extra. Montanari seemed maybe to injure a wrist. He's over there. Seems to be okay, and I'm sure we'll see him very shortly.
We're in overtime. 3-3. Lewis knocking it in. He's up there with Scully. Lewis back of the net. Davis is in front. Scully couldn't get it to him. Forgo back out for Kitchener. St. Aubin stops. He's up there with Forgo and Fulham. Fulham chops at it. Uniacke into the corner, battling with Lewis. They joust a little bit. Fulham trying to knock it loose. Lewis all over Uniacke. And Brathwaite will cover it up, and we'll get a face-off down in the Oshawa zone. 17:22 to go in overtime. 3-3.
Lots of rough action in the corners, and the Generals were very fortunate not to get a penalty here. You watch lots of stuff after the whistle. The play I'm talking about is where J.P. Davis, number 27, comes out, really puts the collar on a Kitchener Ranger player breaking towards the net. Right there, he pulls down the Kitchener Ranger forward, and J.P. Davis was fortunate not to be called. Rival Fulham getting pulled to the ice.
Puck fired by Dion, and Brathwaite blinked and moved at the last second.
I don't know if Brathwaite even saw that. It changed direction at the last minute. It hit somebody's stick on the way in. Brathwaite seemed to surprise at anybody when it hit him up high on the shoulder, thinking maybe it was going to come into his catching glove.
Firth on the face-off, up there with Rice and Dion. Keenan moves up. Firth after it. Armstrong crunches him. Rice had Lindros lined up and just went flying past him. The puck up over the glass.
Rick Bornacchia says when the game means the most, Eric Lindros is his main man. It certainly makes him a valuable addition in overtime. A big contributor with a good chance of scoring the overtime goal, but first, he's got big important business, and that's winning this face-off and getting out of the Oshawa end.
Firth facing off for Kitchener against Lindros. Rice, number 12, going after the puck. Trying to put the collar on Ian Frazier. Krajewicz for Oshawa. 3-3, we're in OT. Here comes Grieve. In there with Lindros and Frazier. Everybody overskates it. Right. Can't get past Krajewicz. Frazier alone in front. There's the pass, and Frazier's covered. Frazier again, now Lindros. Lindros after it. In front, Frazier shoots. Big stop by Torkia. Here comes Wright. Back for the Rangers. Wright's against Krajewicz, and he's poke checked. Wright tried to send away Dion, but Krajewicz up tight. Here comes Reed. Dabanica shooting. That's about 6 feet wide. Pierce chops it out. Here's Stevenson. Shane Stevenson. Brathwaite makes that save. Pierce and Montanari. Montanari sucking into his man. Craigwell with it. To Basillo. Craigwell. Shoots. Craigwell again. He did it last time. Basillo looking for Craigwell or Banica in front. And now the Rangers will come back. Uniacke. To Montanari. Shooting off the side of the net. Montanari again. Battling down on the corner. He's knocked down. Here comes Craigwell. Lots of room, lots of time. Shoots just wide of the far corner.
Oh, great action in overtime. Lots of chances at both ends of the ice.
We played 5 minutes of OT. Offside called on the Oshawa Generals. 3 threes to score.
Up and down they're going. Excellent opportunities. Torkia making some great saves in tight against the Generals, and the Generals are doing a great job defensively of pinching in. The defensemen are challenging, keeping that puck in, and keeping the pressure on Mike Torkia.
And so far, Torkia has seen the lion's share of action in this overtime. A couple of big stops from point blank, and much of the offense generated by that threesome of Ian Frazier, Eric Lindros, and Brent Grieve. Scaldi out there with Davis and Lewick now for the Generals. St. Aubin out there for Kitchener. He's been pesky all night. St. Aubin now deep in his own end. Davis trying to knock it loose. Tied up. Jason York had the bear hug on him. And the puck comes out offside, called on Oshawa.
Paul, we're seeing the versatility of the Oshawa Generals. They've got J.P. Davis, number 27, a defenseman who can play either up or back. And as we go into overtime, instead of going with the fourth line wingers, they've decided to take Davis, a very good offensive talent, and move him up front and maybe have a Cinderella story. Good corner work here by Jared Scaldi. Joey St. Aubin got all tied up. Nobody was near him originally. But look at Davis in there and Scaldi doing the job against the Kitchener Rangers. And that's the kind of work you need in overtime, forcing the play.
Played 5.5 minutes of OT, 3-3. Brent Grieve comes in with Frazier. Lindros in deep, top of the slot. And they can't get it out to him. Icing waved off. Right, circling back of the net. Couldn't get there in time. Uniacke clears it back in for Kitchener. Here's Dion. Up there with Rice and Firth. But the Generals come out. Frazier to Lindros. Back to Frazier. Shoot! Torkia is there again. And here comes Kitchener. Firth. Clearing it in. Joe McDonnell and the Rangers make some changes on the fly. Dion digs it out. Here's Firth. His pocket picked cleanly there by Donaldson. And the Generals lug it back. Lindros lumbers across the blue line. Lindros still. Straight in there. Torkia pokes it away. Here's Armstrong now. That's stopped. Armstrong clears it back in, and offside called on Oshawa.
Well, Eric Lindros almost did it on his own. A great individual effort, but the puck has not been bouncing well at all for him in front of the net. A good solid effort in overtime from Eric Lindros as he starts controlling the game. When he takes the puck and carries the puck, he's a dominant player. That's what he wasn't doing early in the tournament. And here he's basically 1-on-3 against the Kitchener Rangers. Kicks and scraps his way to get a loose puck over to Lewick, but they just can't get a handle on it.
We played 7 minutes of OT, tied at 3, and here comes Scaldi. Shoots! Torquia didn't know where it was. Did not know where it was.
Torquia made the initial save. The puck went right down between his legs, but he did not see it. He fell down, and fortunately for him, he sat on the puck. Good individual effort by Jared Scaldi, a real dangerous offensive player. A great quick release. There's Torquia looking behind him, looking in front, and he says, if it's not behind me, it's not in front of me, then it must be under me. A good quick release using the defenseman as a screen, and there's Torquia doing the split and holding the Kitchener Rangers in this game. Oshawa really taking it to Kitchener, getting the better chances at this point.
Craigwell, Banica, and Basillo out there. And again, Torquia hangs onto it with Craigwell right on the doorstep.
You know, Paul, all the action is around the Kitchener net, but I'll tell you the reason why. The Oshawa defense are doing a masterful job of keeping the puck in at the blue line. That time, number 3, Gerald Donaldson, beat the Kitchener player and came running right in.
This was the save a little bit earlier, where he didn't know quite where to find the puck. Here's Donaldson. Shoots. That's blocked. And Pierce starts back for the Rangers. Stevenson open on the right-hand side, but they couldn't get it across to him. And up over 2 lines. Offside called on the Oshawa Generals.
No action for Freddie Brathwaite right now, and I'm sure that's the way he wants to keep it. The Oshawa Generals are supremely confident. As we said, they like to visualize things, and they visualize themselves beating the Kitchener Rangers on numerous occasions. They're doing it again right now, taking it to the Kitchener Rangers. As a result, Brathwaite left to relax at the other end, although they're now back inside the Oshawa blue line.
First out there at center. Rice is with him, and so's Dion. Lots of offense there to be generated. Lindros into Greaves. Back to Lindros, intercepted. And here come the Rangers. First. In there with Dion. Here's First. Rice shoots. Brathwaite to stop, and he's bowled over by Dion. Dion couldn't slam the brakes on quite in time.
Gilbert Dion goes to the net very well, and in that case, did not try to stop himself, crashing into Freddie Brathwaite. You watch Dion in the picture, being chased down by Eric Lindros. Lindros kind of lets him go here, and Dion cuts back in front of the middle of the net, looking for the rebound. But here's Firth, so dangerous tonight, and there's Rice. Firth and Rice and Pierce have been the 3 most dangerous players for the Kitchener Rangers tonight. That man hasn't done a bad job himself.
And the guy underneath the blue hat in the middle of your screen, you can't see him too well, is Kevin Butt, the injured Oshawa goalie. He was injured halfway through the second period, and Freddie Brathwaite has come on to do some stellar work. Jean-Paul Davis up for the General. Scaldi goes to the net. The pass is behind him, however. Here comes Stephen Rice. In with Dion. Rice. And Lewis back there to clean it up. Up ahead to Scaldi. Lewick shoots. He's banged on it. Just goes wide. Donaldson for Oshawa. Keenan for Kitchener. Up to Dion. In there with Rice and Firth. Here's Firth. Rebound.
don't get hockey any better than that. End-to-end action. Jason Firth, Gilbert Dion, and the Oshawa Generals go over and congratulate Freddie Brathwaite, who's come in here and done a magnificent job of keeping the Oshawa Generals in the game when their number one goaltender was injured and taken out. Here come the Generals breaking across the blue line. That's Dion flipping it up to Rice and over to Firth. A beautiful three-way play. And Freddie Brathwaite stands his ground, makes not one, but two saves.
Firth set up just masterfully there by Rice, who just laid a nice soft pass across to him. And Brathwaite pulls the ace out of the sleeve. Brathwaite another stop. And the Generals regroup and come out. Banica shoots. Torquia says, you take that. Great stops at both ends. And the ante keeps going up. The Rangers turn to deal. And the stakes get raised again. Basillo up there with Banica too. Here's Basillo right across in front. Kravitz at the line. Tried to knock it in. Comes out now. Banica steps in. Banica shooting. That's stopped by Torquia. Here's Craigwell into the corner for Basillo. Gets away from him. And St. Aubin wanted to get a whistle. The Rangers need to make a change. And they'll get time to do it. Kitchener calls for icing.
Joey St. Aubin flipped it down the ice. Did not necessarily want to get an icing play. If he had been a curler, he might have just had the draw to the button at the face-off circle there. He didn't have the right weight on it. But great goaltending by both Freddie Brathwaite and Mike Torquia. David Krajewicz does a great job of blocking a shot here. Watch number 5 slide out and takes one for the team. A good block shot. And coming back down the other end, Corey Banica has had a marvelous game. Last one that Mike Torquia steers out of danger. Great action.
10:29 left in the first overtime period. Played almost 10 minutes. Here's Jason York. And another face-off coming up down in Kitchener territory. A jam-packed house. Over 17,000 on hand at the Cops Coliseum. And that is a record for a Memorial Cup final.
And they're seeing a great, great hockey game. The best junior hockey has to offer. Paul, we've seen a lot of good games this year, but this one is rapidly becoming number one on our list.
It's already tops on mine. Pierce, number 23 for the Rangers, just angled off there by Donaldson. Frazier trying to jump in. Lacuma ties him up, but here's Grieve to contend with. From his stomach, he almost chucks it in. Frazier's belted, still has the puck. Lindros in front, Frazier the shot, and Torquia will hang on.
A great individual effort by Ian Frazier, coming out of the corners. He's done so well all night. Comes out, does it by himself. And Torquia is equal to the challenge. Great puck control by Ian Frazier. The Kitchener Rangers can't knock him off the puck. As he comes racing around, and there's Torquia, makes the save, flips it up into his glove, and takes a well-deserved rest. Originally tried to get it out to Lindros. Lindros was covered, so he did it himself.
Ian Frazier and Brent Grieve are playing with fire in their eyes. They've been to the final once before. That was in 1987. They came away losers. This is their last chance to repay that debt. And both are playing like it. And what a game by the Kitchener Rangers. The underdogs in this game, and they have not given an inch.
Paul O'Hagan did a very good job of getting back and getting on that puck. It was a very close call. Gilbert Dion was right on top of him. Good hustle by O'Hagan, who's chomping on that mouth guard. And here comes Dion. Good hustle to get in there. Lifts the stick. The referee was about to wave it off. And O'Hagan managed to get his stick on the puck and force the face-off at the other end. And we're going to have another look here at Brent Grieve, Eric Lindros, and Ian Fraser as the generals force it and try to end it now.
And Jason Firth out to take the face-off. Backhand shot by Grieve. Couldn't catch Torquia that time. Here's Fraser, right in front. Grieve was tied up. Here comes Dion, tried to pull the shift and couldn't slip past O'Hagan. Here's Grieve, back up with Fraser. Fraser comes in with Lindros and Grieve. There's Grieve, couldn't get the stick on it. He was being tied up. Here comes Dion, the legs getting heavy. Fraser comes back. In with Grieve. Fraser shoots. That's stopped by Torquia. Here's Rice, and he'll just flip it out to center. The Rangers want to make a change. The bench standing, but they've got to relieve the pressure. Here's Stephen Rice, and clears it up off the linesman and over the boards.
Well, if it looks like that Ian Fraser and Brent Grieve have been playing together all their life, that's almost the case. They've played 4 years together as Oshawa Generals. They played 8 years together in the Oshawa minor hockey system. That's 12 years. These two guys are almost sick of each other out there, but they're the best of friends. And as you say, Paul, they were back on the team in 1987 that lost the Medicine Hat. They want to atone for this. It's their last game of junior hockey.
Eight minutes and 45 seconds to go in overtime, the first overtime period. Of course, overtime is timeless. We'll keep going until somebody scores. St. Aubin out there. Forgo is out there for Kitchener. And so's rival Fulham. This has been a pretty good threesome for the Rangers. And here comes St. Aubin. Working in. St. Aubin drops it out. Fulham pulls the trigger and just missed the target. St. Aubin chopping away back in the net. And now the Rangers will get a face-off in the offensive zone. What a chance for rival Fulham. And had he spotted the top corner with that shot, his name would have been carved onto this. The Memorial Cup, first played for in 1919. The Oshawa Generals haven't won it since 1944. Mackenzie King was the Prime Minister back then.
Bob McKenzie?
No relation, I'm sure.
And here's a good hard shot by rival Fulham and great save by Freddie Brathwaite. Brathwaite got his shoulder and his arm on it, deflecting it just wide of the post. Ever so close.
Here comes Lewick, shooting. Just missed. Here's Scaldi, trying to get it loose. Keenan tying him up. Lewick's up there. Here's Corey Keenan now for Kitchener. Stevenson slips the check and away he goes. Clears it in. Pierce back in the net. Bumped by Donaldson. Stevenson pouncing after it. To Montanari. Back towards the line. And Keenan taking no chances. He was wheeling back out. Rangers make some changes on the go. Wholesale changes. Here comes J.P. Davis. Long shot. Torquia steers that away. Fraser in with Grieve. Here's Fraser. Tried to steer it through. That stopped. Lindros in there. He's checked by Firth. And icing waved off. Stephen Rice up to forecheck. Hit against Armstrong. Couldn't get there in time. Uniac heading back there. Grieve after him. No icing call. Grieve trying to hold the fort till the reinforcements come over the hill, and no sign of them. Puck chopped in by Dion. O'Hagan back to pick it up. Rangers make changes again. Lindros off the board. And Basillo comes in offside, called on the Generals.
Paul, I'm sure both teams are very tired, but the Kitchener Rangers have to be that much more fatigued, having played a very physical game against Laval yesterday. Oshawa's been off since Thursday. Joe McInerney is telling his troops right now, not much longer. Kornacki, on the other hand, is telling his guys, be aggressive, continue to pinch in. We've beat these guys the last 4 times that we've played them. In all the crucial meetings, we've won. Let's do it again.
Here's Joey St. Aubin. Just the kind of guy who could bust this one open and finish it off. He's had a strong game. Fulham took a chop at it, couldn't get it in. Basillo after it for the Generals, couldn't get there in time. Richard Borgo up to St. Aubin over 2 lines. 5:58 to go in the first overtime period, a 3-3 hockey game.
Joey St. Aubin does not want to go back to his hometown of Oshawa and find a Memorial Cup parade. He'd just as soon have that going down King Street in Kitchener as opposed to King and Simcoe in Oshawa.
And St. Aubin with the second Kitchener goal in this game. And he's played certainly his best game of the tournament.
He's a very effective player, good at both ends, and a good candidate to score an overtime goal because he's so good around that net.
One shot, one bad bounce, one lucky bounce. One shot away. One of these teams are from a Memorial Cup championship. Scaldi comes in. Scaldi still. Torquia had to go a long way, but got the skate on it. Uniac gives it away. Lewis almost sneaks through. Here comes Scaldi. In with Davis and Lewis. Lacuma just gets it out. Armstrong back to pick it up. Shane Stevenson up to forecheck. Rangers make wholesale changes. First to Dion. Up to Stevenson. Heel angle in. First and Dion going for the net. Dion shoots. Brathwaite to stop.
Bernie Brathwaite rises to the occasion. And the Kitchener Rangers are not getting a lot of sustained action on the Oshawa Generals, but every time they come down, they have an excellent scoring chance. Right now, we've got 5 excellent scoring chances for Kitchener, about 3 for Oshawa, and here is a great opportunity for the Oshawa Generals. Jared Scaldi shows what a wizard he is with the puck. Down at the other end, Shane Stevenson does a fine job of coming around Gerald Donaldson, flipping the pass over, and Gilbert Dion, I believe, gets a good shot away, but Brathwaite holds the fort.
Stephen Rice up to take the face-off. And check that. First taking the face-off. Rice and Dion on the wings. Lindros out there for the Generals with Frazier and Grieve. And here comes Grieve. Frazier trailing. Frazier back of the net. Lindros moving in towards the front of the net. Grieve and Frazier both trying to crash it loose. O'Hagan around the board. Here's Frazier. Rice gets there for Kitchener. Rice dumping it out to center. And Dion trying to take off. No penalty called.
Whoa! Gilbert Dion was literally hauled down. Referee Walkham decided to put away the whistle in overtime.
Here comes Frazier. Works it in. And Torquia kicks that away with Lindros zooming through the crease. Generals make changes now. Here's Firth. Chops it down in for Kitchener. Dion in against Armstrong. Bucks him into the boards. Craigwell with it now. We played 16 minutes of overtime. 3-3. Borgo, right on top of Armstrong, rides him into the boards. St. Aubin, back of the net, Fulham after it now. Here's Craigwell, looking for some room. Craigwell, in over the line with Basillo and Bannica. Craigwell centers it. Bannica's there, checking the play. Bannica back in the net, trying to get it in front. Armstrong has it tapped by him. Was able to recover. Bannica, that's blocked. And here comes rival Fulham. End of a long shift, and he'll just fire it in and weave over to the bench.
The Generals almost got caught on a line change. Defenseman O'Hagan was going off. Thought better of it when he saw the breakaway developing, and he managed to get back into play.
Two-line pass called on the Oshawa Generals. And if you think the fans are looking a little bit haggard and tired, how about the players?
There's a good look at Randy Pierce. He talks to Wacom. No doubt about that play where Gilbert Dion was hauled down a little bit earlier. Dion went for the big sleeper play, standing out at center ice, interfered with the Oshawa defenseman, got the loose puck, and when he went to break away for it, the Oshawa defender hauled him to the ice, and no penalty. A crucial call, a crucial moment in overtime.
Unless the guy's arm is going one way and his body the other, you're not going to see a penalty called, I don't think.
They're going to need a smoking gun before they're going to call the overtime penalty here.
We played 17 minutes of overtime, 3-3. These two teams went to double overtime during the round robin. Oshawa won that one 5-4. Dale Craigwell scored the winner. Pierce up there for the Rangers. Stevenson's up there too. Stevenson being tied up by Kravitz. Kravitz just wrapping up and holding on, knowing that there's not going to be a penalty called. And another face-off down in Oshawa territory.
And Paul, you hit the nail on the head. They know they're not going to call a penalty. They're going to go way beyond the normal means and ways of trying to stop a player. Everybody was being held out there. Mark Montanari couldn't get free. None of the Kitchener Rangers could. And the whistle is firmly in pocket at this point from Steve Wacom.
And Steve Wacom would just as soon not have any kind of a say in who wins this game. By that, I mean he doesn't want to give somebody a power play.
Well, it's almost criminal at this point that any team has to lose. Such a valiant struggle with so much on the line. One team is going to come out of here a winner. One team is going to come out a loser. And as much as you'll feel excitement for the winning team, you really have to feel for the loser in this contest.
Hey, but that's sports. Nothing criminal about that. The sun will come up tomorrow no matter who wins. What a great hockey game this has been. Here comes Frazier. Lindros shoots. What a stop. Rebound. Lindros again. And Torquia again.
Eric Lindros still looking for his first goal. Mike Torquia comes up big. Not one save, not two saves, but three saves. Two of them on Eric Lindros, one on Ian Fraser. A great drop pass by Ian Fraser, and Lindros gets off a nice, quick, hard shot. Torquia doesn't know where it is. There's Fraser comes in. And there's Lindros, looks for the rebound. Great action around Mike Torquia. And a nice drop pass by Ian Fraser. A good shot and a good save. Nothing's coming easy in this overtime.
Here's Lindros, hooked on the play, and the Rangers break out. Dion, up the middle. Firth trying to break in. He was hooked up on the play. Here's Firth. Tied up by Donaldson. Dion picks it up. Uniacke shoots. Lindros got a piece of it to block it, and Brathwaite, cool as a cucumber, just fields it off the glass and holds on. A little bit too much company for him in the crease.
Incredible action in front of the net. Watch Gilbert Dion come out of the corner, going for it, and just Bill Armstrong just bulldogging him down, throwing him to the ice as Freddie Brathwaite grabs it and skates out of danger. But big Bill Armstrong doing the job on Dion, and Dion has been around that net all night long. You can see the resemblance to brother Marcel. They really get in there, they know where the action is, and it's around the net.
3-3. And we've played just over 18 minutes of OT. Here's Borgo. St. Aubin snowshoeing in there trying to get to it. Basillo. Here comes Banica with Basillo. Banica tries to go coast to coast. Here's Basillo. St. Aubin managing to tie him up.
Good puck work by Joe Basillo in the corner. You know, Paul, this building isn't very old, but it's seen some great hockey. We've seen a great game here tonight. We saw a great double overtime game Thursday, and maybe the most exciting game ever played here, the Canada Cup. Mario Lemieux scored the winning goal to beat the Soviets. It happened right here in this building.
Kind of makes your hair stand on end, doesn't it? (3-3). 1:27 to go in the first overtime period, and I say again, these two teams went to double OT a few nights ago. Lindros facing off against Montanari, and they battle in the corner. Stevenson moving in. And offside.
Well, it's getting very tense. 1:10 left in overtime. And there's Rick Cornacchia showing the effects of what an overtime game. Just moments ago, look at him here. Tension getting to him. Oh, Excedrin headache, you know what?
May lose a few more hairs.
Doesn't have too many more to give. And these players don't have too much more to give. 1:10 left. They're just going all out to try and end this game now.
Here's Stevenson. He's a guy who can end it. There's a shot, and Brathwaite reaches down low to pull it out of the dirt.
A great save by Brathwaite. And Shane Stevenson with really good wheels caught Gerald Donaldson, the Oshawa defenseman, flat-footed. You'll see him here blow around Donaldson, backing up real quick, trying to cut him off. Stevenson leans back and gets a real good shot on Brathwaite, putting it on net. Less than a minute to go. They want to steer everything to the net. A good, hard, low shot, and Brathwaite has been nothing less than spectacular the whole way. Perfection for Freddie Brathwaite.
Firth facing off against Jared Scully. Here's Scott Lewick. Up to J.P. Davis. He'll come in. Lewick going for the net, too. Davis trying to sachet his way in there, but he gets held up. 40 seconds left in the first overtime period. 3-3. Here's Armstrong. Shoots just wide. Davis almost redirected that. Scully waits for Davis to get onside and comes in. Now he's stopped. Here comes Stephen Rice. In front, Dion. That's stopped by Brathwaite. Keenan shooting. 15 seconds left in overtime. And icing called on the Oshawa Generals. There will be a face-off in the general zone with 8 seconds to go in this overtime period.
I have to believe Freddie Brathwaite stopped this shot with his face. I can see no other way that Freddie Brathwaite stopped this except with his mask. Stephen Rice flips the puck across, and it's redirected there, and Freddie Brathwaite comes up big. Gilbert Dion right in on top of him, right in on the net, and Brathwaite, a Cinderella story, coming off the bench to replace Kevin Butt, and doing an unbelievable job of holding the Kitchener Rangers at bay. Here's another shot, a good centering pass, and Dion gets a backhand flip. Gerald Donaldson doesn't do a great job of keeping Dion from going to the net. We've got a timeout for the Oshawa Generals. They've got the chalkboard out.
8 seconds to go in the first overtime period. And Eric Lindros in the front row of class. taking the lesson off the chalkboard. And I'm not a coach, so I won't even pretend to speculate on what Kornacki is diagramming out.
This is where we need Roger Nielsen. We need Roger back from the NHL up here to give us a little hand here. But I think it's pretty safe to say Rick Kornacki is telling everybody take a man. Freddie Brathwaite will take care of the rest. If everybody takes a man, then the Kitchener Rangers can't get a shot off, and Freddie Brathwaite will finish this last 8 seconds without having to have a shot. Mike Torquia, good bet. He won't see any more action in this period. Although he just as soon see the game ended with 8 seconds to go. Crucial factor here will be the draw. Eric Lindros against Shane Stevenson. Stevenson's going to try and draw back to first. Lindros will try and bring it back into the corner and out of harm's way.
Or Jason York, who's got a great shot. First, just wide, 4 seconds left. And we are heading to another period of overtime. For the second time this week, these two clubs will go into double OT. They exchanged goals in the first period. They exchanged them in the second. They did it in the third. And we go through 20 minutes, and nobody manages to find the mark. We are through 4 periods, and it's 3-3. Here's Peter Watts.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. It's a great hockey game. It might have been decided in Oshawa's favor a little earlier if Mike Craig had been in the lineup, but Mike Craig took the pregame skate and could not continue. And I know it was tough, and I think you knew when you came to the rink it would be real difficult to play.
Yeah, I was having problems last couple of days walking on it. My ligaments wouldn't move for me. They're all bruised up inside, and I was really feeling down and out about it.
You having a good time watching this?
No, I'm not, actually. You know, it's nerve-wracking sitting behind the bench there watching. You know, you wish you'd be out there, but there's not much you can do about it.
The first couple of games of the tournament, Oshawa came out, got an early jump, and really had to hang on. The last couple, it hasn't been quite that way. And I know in this game, I thought you would come out stronger, or perhaps it's a tribute to the Kitchener team that they played as well as they did in the first period.
Oh, you got to hand it to Kitchener. They playing the third game in 4 nights. You know, they've come out flying, and they kind of caught us flat-footed there at the beginning of the game. But the Jennies have fought back, and I think we're taking it to them in these overtime periods here.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next little while. Thanks for coming by. I hope that ankle will get back to normal real quick. Mike Craig of the Oshawa Generals, the 3-goal scorer earlier in the tournament, unable to play because of a bad ankle. And his team in 3-3 deadlock after 80 minutes of hockey at Topps Coliseum in Hamilton. Lots more still ahead on the 1990 Memorial Cup.
If you like a taste that's fresh and crisp, if you want a beer that's brewed the Rocky Mountain way, it's the right beer now. Reach for the silver bullet. It's got that clean, clear taste that goes the distance.
It's hanging tough under the hoop. It's driving the lane. It's high flying and do or die time. And it's usually decided in the last second. It's NBA playoff time, and TSN is there with excitement as the NBA marches toward a world championship. TSN is courtside with conference semifinals. Tip it off live Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern. The NBA, fantastic, especially when it's here on TSN.
A car has to be serviced properly. It has to be maintained properly. And at Goodyear, we do that.
Mark Haynes is a tune-up specialist for Goodyear.
We do engine diagnosis. We do fuel injection. We do electronics diagnosis. We do tune-ups. We do brakes. We do suspension work. We don't just do tires anymore.
The Goodyear Diagnostic Tune-Up. Signed, sealed, and certified by Goodyear.
We know what we're doing. We get the job done, and we stand behind it. That's what Goodyear Certified Auto Service means.
The latest, the fastest, the safest. It's the best show on 2 wheels. Canadian Motorcycle Riders every Wednesday and only on TSN.
Welcome back to Cops Coliseum in Hamilton. We have been on the air now 4 hours, and we still have not got a winner in the 1990 Memorial Cup. The Kitchener Rangers and the Oshawa Generals locked in a 3-3 tie. Guy Sharon, who is an assistant to Dave King in the national program, and who, of course, coached the gold medal team in Helsinki at the World Juniors back at the end of December, kind enough to stop by. That's a pretty good hockey game.
Well, no doubt, Peter. It's quite exciting for the fans, and you know, you have to, you know, give credit to Kitchener, you know, not taking anything away from Oshawa, but they played a double overtime to that same team, you know, Thursday night, and I thought they played a tough game against Laval. So both teams are working very hard. The goaltenders are making the key saves. It's, for whatever happens, one team's going to be deeply hurt about this outcome.
I was about to say it is a fantastic game to win. It would be an awful tough game to lose because both teams really deserve to come out of here with their names on the cup.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And again, you know, for Oshawa, they've been in this position before and they've won. For Kitchener also, but you know, as long as when they're going into that dressing room, they don't think that the outcome of the last game, that's behind them now. It's fresh, and they have the opportunity to possibly finish as winners here.
You took the team to Helsinki last year, and of course next year's World Tournament is in Saskatoon. We don't know yet who will be the coach, but I'm sure as the coach from last year, at least you will be asked for your assessment and might possibly be making the decisions about talent. What is your assessment about the junior game in this country right now?
Well, you know, again, when you have the opportunity to coach a national junior team, I think it's a great privilege because it gives you the opportunity to work with some of the better talents in Canada, if not the, you know, the best talent in Canada. And, you know, that's a great opportunity. And, you know, for years to come, I think that's why, Peter, the expectations are so high when you play in these world tournaments, even though I think it's a fine line tournament. You have to give a lot of credit to the players that play in these tournaments and come out of it successfully as the players that took part this year and come out with a gold medal, because the competition is very strong. It's a new adaptation, but it says a lot, I think, for our Canadian kids because they're used to play a certain style of hockey. Our preparation is very limited. We have a camp in the summertime, 4 days. This year we were fortunate to have a week in Viramaki prior to the tournament, so it shows, you know, you play, you know, the way the Memorial Cup has gone. It's been great competition, and so we have something to be proud about our young Canadian players.
Well, we'll let you go back and watch the fifth period of play in this hockey game. Thank you so much for coming by.
Quite welcome, Peter.
Guy Sharon of the national team of Canada, the assistant coach to Dave King in that program, and he coached the World Junior team in Helsinki last Christmas to a gold medal. 3-3, Kitchener and Oshawa. We're headed for the second overtime period in Hamilton. We'll be back.
fabric softener with no perfume. No ink, no extra additives, just static control airflow softness. Bounce free. Everything you want. Nothing more.
Hi, kids. Elizabeth. Who wants some Mr. Juicy? But first you'll have to catch me.
Mr. Juicy frozen treats from McCain. Flavored with real McCain fruit juice from concentrate. Children love the flavors of McCain Mr. Juicy because of the fruit juice. It's a wonderfully wholesome way to celebrate summer.
What flavor? Raspberry.
McCain Mr. Juicy because of the fruit juice.
It's an event just being here. Skydome, the world's greatest entertainment center.
Ever hear of foosball? That's soccer in the mud. And what it does to my Jason shirts. Ooh, those grass-stained, muddy, tough-to-clean shirts.
When you've got the tough stuff, get out the best stuff. Tide. Tide gets the tough stuff cleaner than this brand, than any leading brand. You'll see the clean all through your wash.
Hey, champ, everything clean. Here we go again.
To get the tough stuff cleaner, trust Tide.
York, Joey Saint-Aubin and Gilbert Dion, all in the power play for Kitchener. Corey Bannica and two by veteran Brett Grieve. The Oshawa goal scorers 3-3. We're headed for the 5th period at Cops Coliseum in Hamilton. Let's go to TSN Control in Toronto for a sports update with Gino Reda.
Thanks, Peter. What a terrific game going on down at Cops Coliseum. We'll get back to Hamilton in a moment. Right now, let's take a look at some baseball highlights. The Toronto Blue Jays, Detroit Tigers in Detroit this afternoon. Dave Steve on the mound for Toronto. Jack Morris on the mound for the Tigers. And Steve gets in a little bit of trouble early on in this game. First inning, Tony Phillips at second. Alan Trammell singles. George Bell just charges that. Gets it in time, but not in time to stop Phillips from scoring 1-0 Detroit. Top of the second, George Bell stands in and stands tall. Puts this one away. Solo shot, 2-1 Detroit. But the Tigers roar back in the third. Lloyd Mosby. Welcome to Detroit, teammates. That's what he says. And then he launches one into the upper deck. 3-1 Tigers. The Jays do tie it up, though, in the 6th inning. Fred McGriff at the plate. Look at him, just gets this. It's all arm. This guy is so strong. Goes to the base of the wall in center. There's plenty of time for George Bell to come in to score. The game's all tied up at 3-3. Jays get to Jack Morris again in the 8th inning. John Olerud at the plate. He's got men on the corners. Olerud, the long line drive to center. Even George Bell can score from third on the tag. On this one, it's 4-3 Jays. George Bell played a strong game for Toronto. Goes 4 for 5, including this double. Mookie Wilson comes in to score. Bell with a couple of singles, a double, and a homer in this game. David Wells gets his first win of the season. George Bell actually scored 3 times, driving in 3 runs. Jays win it 6-3. Angels just 1 win in their last 10 games. Today, hosting the Red Sox. 3-2 Boston in the 4th. Angels 2 on, 1 out. But the Sox turn the classic 6-4-3 double play. Carlos Quintana with his Nadia Comaneci imitation there. 5th inning, 2 on, 1 out again. Chili Davis chops in a double play, and Quintana again with his Nadia Comaneci splits imitation. Their offensive woes end in the 6th, though. 2 on. Jack Howell comes up with the clutch hit, a 2-run single. 5-3 California. They finally cash in with some base runners. 8th inning, Boston still trailing 7-3. Tom Bernansky hits his first American League home run this year, and it's 7-4. But later in the 8th, Lance Parrish answers with a solo shot of his own, launches this one to right center field, makes it 8-4 California. The Angels hold off a Boston threat in the 9th inning with a double play. Their own version of it, though. Watch this. It's 3-4-3. It works. The Angels end a 4-game losing streak. Doug Rader is smiling, happy with an 8-4 final score. Chuck Finley gets the win. He goes to 5-2. Milwaukee led the American League East Division at the start of the day, but they lost 8-6, and the American League standings now look like this. Toronto, Milwaukee tied for first place in the AL East. Boston now 2 full games behind the co-leaders in first place. Okay, how about the American League West? Well, the Oakland A's totally in control of the American League West. They have only lost 1 game in their last 10 going into today's game with Baltimore. Actually, they lost to Baltimore on Saturday night. Orioles demonstrating a little defense. Joe Orsulak robs Carney Lansford of a certain base hit. Look at this. Pulls it off the grass. Good thing it was on grass and not turf. That would have really been some bad carpet burn. Then it's Steve Finley's turn. Mark McGuire at the plate, but Finley, diving grab. Along with the defense, they combine for a little offense. Leading 2-1 in the 5th. Mike Devereaux keeps it going with a double down the left field line. David Seege scores, and it's 3-1 Baltimore. Late in the game, O's bring in ace reliever Greg Olson. He shuts down Felix Jose. Athletics just can't seem to get by Baltimore, as David Seege and Olson hook up for a nice play to end the ball game. On to first in time, Oakland losing to Baltimore back-to-back games. The final score in this one, 4-1. Jay Tibbs gets the win. He's now at 2-3. Mike Moore drops to 3-2. Let's check some other scores for you. New York and Seattle. Seattle big-time winners, 10-5 the final score in this one. It's the Mariners' first win in 3 games. The teams combined for 27 hits in this game. It was KC losing to Chicago by a single run, 4-3. The final score on this one, Jeff Montgomery drops to 3-2. Royals manager John Waltham says he will now use Mark Davis in the setup role. Jeff Montgomery will take over in the closer role. And it was Cleveland over Texas by a final score of 4-1. Great game going on at Cops Coliseum. We are in the 2nd period of overtime. We're going to take a break and take you back to Cops.
This is a research laboratory. It tries and fails to make Castrol motor oil break down. It's the place where Castrol is torture tested to meet the requirements of those who punish motor oil the most. You. The everyday Canadian driver. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's cars.
The score after 80 minutes of hockey. These two teams on Thursday night went into double overtime, and it was ended at 4:16. But I wonder if this one will go on a little bit longer, because the goaltending has been great. Make that outstanding.
Paul, at both ends, Freddie Brathwaite doing a tremendous job. Coming back down the end, this is a great opportunity. Lindros, 2 good cracks at it, but Mike Torquia comes up so big for the Kitchener Rangers. And you know, Paul, that's one way of looking at it. Yes, the goaltending is great. It could go on for a long time. The other thing is, as we look at this incredible montage of chance after chance, is that there are so many good scoring opportunities. I know the Kitchener Rangers believe that to win a hockey game against the Oshawa Generals, they have to bury their chances. Joe McDonnell talked about it early tonight before the game, and they have a great opportunity here. Gilbert Dion flips it up, but Freddie Brathwaite takes it in the chest and into the mask. And they really got to start burying that chance. They only need one, and the Memorial Cup is all theirs.
Well, character is destiny, and character often determines destiny. And there is no questioning the character of both of these teams.
Great effort from the laying on his stomach, and Torquia just kicked another one out.
Save of the last period of overtime. And both teams back out onto the ice, carrying what I'm sure must feel like the lead legs out there. And actually, there is one guy on the Oshawa bench who has not been on the ice in this game, I don't think. And I wonder if we'll see him. Number 19, Claire Cornish. And there he is, right in the middle, tapping out the beat there on the front of the board. He's got lots of energy.
Well, when you get into the second overtime period, you start looking for the unlikely hero. But right now, the likely heroes are out there for both teams. Gilbert Dion, Jason Firth, Stephen Rice for Kitchener, Eric Lindros, Brent Grieve, and Ian Fraser for the Oshawa Generals.
Here comes Ian Fraser, in with Grieve. Fraser to Grieve. He tried to tip it, but Torquia knocked it away. Dion, cross ice. Stephen Rice comes in, and offside is called.
Paul, the amazing thing is, right off the bat, we're only 16 seconds into the period. We've already had one good scoring opportunity. The Oshawa Generals down right on Mike Torquia's doorstep. If the tradition holds true here, Kitchener's coming back down, and Freddie Brathwaite's going to have to do the same.
We are just into the second overtime period. I'm Paul Romanuk, along with Bob McKenzie and Peter Watt at the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, the 1990 Memorial Cup Championship. Double overtime. 3-3. Kravich. Lindros bats it ahead to Fraser. That's with a high stick. Play gets stopped.
Eric Lindros, between the second and third period, had a very badly swollen and banged up elbow, which they had to drain fluid off. Very painful. He's playing with a lot of pain right now. I was talking to Mark Logan, the assistant coach of the Oshawa Generals, said they had to drain the fluid off. Lindros is playing hurt right now.
And Lindros has had, what, maybe a half a dozen scoring chances? Dion with a shot. A rope for the top corner, and Brathwaite had it bounce off of him. Here's Dion again. Trying to go for the front of the net. Uniak at the line. Can't keep it in. Fraser comes out. Here's O'Hagan. Dion. Back to LaPuma. And LaPuma will dump it in. Rangers make some changes. Stevenson up there trying to buy some time. Here's Lindros. To Davis. Knocked away. Montanari. Shoots. Gets wide. Lindros for the General. To Scott Lewis. Gets behind Keenan into the corner now. Lewis. Davis going for the front of the net. Pierce can't get it out. Donaldson over to Davis. Lewis comes in with Scaldi, but offside called on the General. Well, way back when, at 4:37 of the third period, which seems like a while ago now, the last goal in this game was scored.
Gilbert Dion sends this game into overtime. There's the play back to the point. Freddie Brathwaite, the third of 3 power play goals for the Kitchener Rangers, and Chi-Chi Dion does his act. Keep everybody here very late on a Sunday night, threatening to become a Monday morning.
Here comes Scaldi. Davis up after it. Lewick up there too. LaPuma for the Kitchener Rangers. Off the boards, can't get it out. Armstrong shoots, scores! It is over. The Oshawa Generals are the 1990 Memorial Cup champions.
Fred Brathwaite going down and congratulating and consoling Mike Torchia. An unbelievable game, an unbelievable finish. A shot from the point. Looked like it was
Oshawa goal scored by number 14, Scott Lewick. Assisted by number 21, Phil Armstrong. 2 minutes, 5 seconds. The beat off the walk over to the Northcat. Lewick, Alexander Basie, and Armstrong. 2 minutes, 9
The goal is by Scott Lewick. Deflected a shot by Bill Armstrong from the point, and it went past poor Mike Torchia. He's had such an outstanding game, and the Kitchener Rangers are the picture of dejection, while the Oshawa Generals celebrate their first Memorial Cup since 1944. The picture tells the story.
Well, victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan.
At Carrier, we care about the sounds you hear and the sounds you don't hear. We build one of the quietest air conditioners money can buy, and we're working to make all our products more environmentally friendly. If you want the best, call the expert, your Carrier dealer. Your Carrier dealer cares about a quieter environment, inside and outside.
This is our model customer. A man who knows how to treat a pair of Avia cross-trainers. We admire his insensitivity to our products. That's why we're proud to have him in our shoes. After all, we've got an image to maintain.
Because of its unique point design, the Black & Decker Bullet Drill Bit drills holes up to 4 times faster than an ordinary drill bit. Nothing's faster than a bullet drill bit.
Underneath all those delicious pizza toppings lies the secret of McCain Croissant Pizza.
You gonna finish that last piece of crust? If you let me have it, I'll double your allowance. How about a new stereo for that last bite of crust? What a guy.
McCain Croissant Pizza, with the crust nobody leaves behind.
So what's little dandruff?
Okay. Imagine your dream girl says hello, just as you do this.
So?
Try this.
Head and shoulders? But you don't have dandruff.
Bingo.
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
The 1990 Memorial Cup on TSN has been brought to you by Molson Canadian. What beer's all about. By Shell, the makers of Formula Shell, the truly different gasoline. By Goodyear certified auto service retailers nationwide. Quality car care that is signed, sealed, and certified by Goodyear. And by Cooper, the world plays hockey with Cooper. Let's look now at the winning goal of this hockey game, scored at the 2:05 mark of the second overtime period. Bill Armstrong's long shot from the point, tipped home by Scott Lewick, the youngster picked up from Miami of Ohio after Christmas. He's the hero. 4-3. Oshawa wins its first Memorial Cup since 1944. And the two teams on the ice shaking hands. A very well-played, hard-fought game by two top junior hockey clubs. The Kitchener Rangers playing their third game in 4 days. Full value for a tremendous effort to Joe McDonnell and the Kitchener Rangers. An absolutely outstanding display by this young team, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Kitchener Ranger franchise. And they won't be able to celebrate it with a Memorial Cup, but they won't have to. They won't have to be able to sacrifice anything at all, because they played their hearts out. Somebody had to lose. On this night it was Kitchener, but this is a tremendous hockey team, and full credit to the Oshawa Generals. What about those veterans? Paul and Bob, Ian Fraser, and Brent Grieve and Rick Kornacki here 3 years ago couldn't get it done. This time they come home with the Memorial Cup.
The ultimate prize in Canadian junior hockey, the Memorial Cup, and Scott Lewick and everybody else in the General's name will go on it for the first time since 1944.
Please welcome, pour les présentations officielles au centre, accueillons Mr. Hal Moran, President
And now
Molson
time for the
Brewery,
presentation.
Ontario Division. Mr. Jim Geary, Team Sales and Promotion Manager for Cooper. Mr. Ed Chenault, President of the Canadian and Western Hockey Leagues. Mr. Murray Costello, President of the Canadian Amateur Hockey Association, and Mr. Mark McCullough, representing Toshiba Canada Limited. Mr. Moran and Mr. Geary will now present the Memorial Cup. Vont maintenant présenter la Coupe Memorial to Oshawa captain, Capitaine Ian Fraser.
So this time, Ian Fraser does get his name on the cup.
A terrific effort from Ian Fraser and all the Oshawa Generals. I suppose it's only fitting that the champions of the Ontario Hockey League go home as Memorial Cup champions too, as Ian Fraser hoists the Memorial Cup to an ovation here at Cops Coliseum.
The next trophy they present is the Stafford Smythe Trophy to the
will now present
MVP.
the Stafford Smythe Most Valuable Player Trophy to the most valuable player of the 1990 Memorial Cup. Le gagnant de la trophy pour
And
la
this is
meilleure
the most
joueur de la
valuable
Coupe
player for the whole
Memorial
tournament, not just for this game.
Number 8, numéro 8, Ian Fraser from Oshawa.
A good choice, Paul. Ian Fraser, the catalyst for this team. Coming back this year as an overage player. He receives the Stafford Spike Trophy from Canadian Hockey League President Ed Chenault. Ian Fraser knew when he was coming back to the Oshawa Generals it was a team that had a golden opportunity to win the Memorial Cup.
And the next presentation is the George Parsons Trophy for the most sportsmanlike player of the tournament.
Jason Firth from Kitchener.
And Jason Firth of the Kitchener Rangers will take that home.
Who also receives the Long Jeans Whitnauer wristwatch, compliments of Long Jeans Whitnauer.
An excellent tournament throughout for Jason Firth. A double threat for the Kitchener Rangers. So good offensively, so good defensively, and incredible penalty killing, teaming up with Randy Pierce, and good sportsmanship to boot. Just a heck of a prospect, Jason Firth.
Mr. Moran, Mr. Gearing, and Mr. Chenault will now present the Molson Cooper gold, silver, and bronze medallions.
And now the 3 stars for this game.
Sports bag compliments of Fabergé to the 3 stars of tonight's
And I would have
game.
hated to have had to pick
Monsieur
them.
Moran, Gearing, et Chenault pour la présentation des médailles aux 3 étoiles. Mr. Chenault will present the Molson Cooper bronze medal to the 3rd star, la médaille de bronze pour la 3e étoile. From Oshawa, number 30, numéro 30, Fred Brathwaite.
Well, Freddie only played half a game, but what a half game it was. A half game and then some.
He came on about halfway through the game after the Kitchener Rangers had scored a goal. Joey Sinaba banked it in off the ankle of Kevin Budd and knocked him out. Brathwaite came in, and what a job.
La médaille d'argent pour la 2e étoile. From Kitchener, number 1, numéro 1, Mike Torchia.
A goaltending battle all night long. Mike Torchia. A great story here at the Memorial Cup. He's been battling intense headaches caused by the coming in of his wisdom teeth. He's had a nagging groin injury, and he's done everything that his team could possibly ask of him. Mike Torchia, a great competitor here.
Gold medal to the 1st star. La médaille d'or pour la 1e étoile. From Oshawa, number 21, numéro 21, Bill Armstrong.
Bill Armstrong, the 1st star. And I believe that before all said and done, he will get credit with the winning goal because Scott Lewick skated over and mentioned to the referee that he didn't touch it.
Each of the 3 winners receives a care package from Brute, courtesy of Fabergé. Star number 1, Bill Armstrong, with the shot from the point that was deflected home by Scott Lewick for the winning goal. Mike Torchia, the goalkeeper for Kitchener, who played so well all the way through this tournament. And Freddie Brathwaite, of course, who came in the 2nd period and was brilliant for Oshawa, is star number 3. More still to come from Hamilton. Stay with us.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman. Brute. It smells like a man.
Hello? Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
Canon makes personal copiers to fit the small business environment. Compact for small spaces, affordable for small budgets. Start out small with a Canon personal copier, and someday you're going to be really big. Right now, Canon will help you grow your business. When you buy a Canon personal copier or fax phone or both, you can pick up to $400 cash back from the Canon money tree. This spring, there's easy pickings at your Canon dealer.
In Canada, when someone moves into a place of their own, a traditional gathering is held. It's called a housewarming. Molson Canadian. The clean, full taste of a genuine Canadian beer. But beer's all about
got to have the equipment, you've got to have the training in order to properly fix the car.
Robert Taggart is a tune-up specialist for Goodyear.
Well, this computer, just by hooking the leads up onto your engine, I can diagnose from everything from your battery straight back through to your fuel system. Check out every component, every piece, to make sure it's operating properly and working properly together.
The Goodyear Diagnostic Tune-Up. Signed, sealed, and certified by Goodyear.
I know exactly where the problem is, exactly where to go, and exactly what to do to cure it.
The turning point of this hockey game brought to you today by Apple Auto Glass. No question at all what the turning point is. It's the winning goal in the hockey game, scored at the 2:05 mark of the second overtime period. The goal that gives the Oshawa Generals their first Memorial Cup in 46 years. The play from the point, the shot by Bill Armstrong, the deflection by Scott Lewick. The goal is scored, 4-3, Oshawa wins. A cash donation will be made to amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Apple Auto Glass. Apple Auto Glass saves you money on stone chip windshield repairs. There is Rick Cornacchia with his daughter, the head coach of the Oshawa Generals, here 3 years ago as an assistant. And there are the members of the team. The Oshawa Generals winning the cup for the first time in 46 years. Steve Rice there with Ian Fraser. And let's go upstairs now, and here's Paul Romanuk.
Well, Bob, if luck is preparation meeting skill, I think both teams maybe had a little bit of everything in this one.
Well, we said it's difficult to be a loser as we look at Joe McDonnell. With the Oshawa Generals' full value this season, they came into it with a decent shot at being a Memorial Cup contender, picked up Bill Armstrong, Scott Lewick, and Eric Lindros along the way, and you see the result there, the 1990 Memorial Cup champions.
Bob, it's been a pleasure. I think back to some of the great games over the course of this year. 11,500 people in Seattle. Eric Lindros against Mike Ricci. We've seen some great hockey, and we finished it off with one of the greatest junior hockey games I've ever seen. Oshawa winning 4-3 in OT over top of Kitchener. Here's Peter Watt.
There is the Memorial Cup for the 72nd season. It is awarded this time to the Oshawa Generals, the best of 40 teams. For now, that's the story from Hamilton. Thanks for being with us. Clear here.
Tonight, the Kitchener Rangers hope to stop Eric Lindros at the Memorial Cup. The Los Angeles Lakers try to stop an embarrassing situation. And hot, hot, hot. That's the way to describe Tim Wallach against the Padres.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Mazda. It just feels right. And by the revolutionary new Gillette sensor. It will change the way you shave. Sports Desk with Chris Sedens and Gino Retta.
Welcome to Sports Desk, everyone. Also coming up in the next half hour, the Blue Jays in Detroit and plenty of other baseball highlights and scores. Some auto racing, golf, tennis, soccer, you name it.
But first up, what an exciting game. Canada crowns a new junior hockey champion in Hamilton. Memorial Cup final went this evening. You saw it live right here on TSN. What a final, Chief.
It was an unbelievable final. In case you didn't get a chance to see the entire game, it's coming up right now. Kitchener Rangers, Oshawa Generals, an all-Ontario final. They played a best-of-7 series a couple of weeks ago for the Ontario Championship. Kitchener led in that series 3-1, but Oshawa came back, won the next 3 straight, and took the Ontario Championship. Tonight, the final. A lot of pressure on Eric Lindros of the Generals. Just 17 years old, but considered one of the best juniors in the country. Things especially tough on him in tonight's game because the Generals were playing without Mike Craig, their leading scorer in the playoffs. First period, Rangers on the power play. Corey Keenan to Jason York. York's blast beats Kevin Butt, 1-0 Kitchener. But the Generals answer. Ian Fraser to Corey Bannica. Bannica moves in, puts it upstairs, and beats Torkia. Fourth of the tourney, game's tied 1-1 after 1. Second period, Kitchener again on the power play. Joey St. Aubin, shot from the bad angle, beats Butt. Another power play goal, 2-1 Rangers. More bad news for Oshawa as Kevin Butt is injured on the play, has to leave the game. Fred Brathwaite is in to replace him, and he's tested early. Jason Firth is all alone, but as Paul Romanuk would say, big chance, big stop. Late in the second period of play, Generals on the attack again. Ian Fraser will send to Brent Grieve. He beats Torkia from in close, all kinds of traffic in front of him. Scores tied at 2 after 2. What a great game. Third period, Generals up 3-2. Brathwaite makes the initial stop, but Gilbert Dion, Marcel's younger brother, is there to pounce on the rebound. Kitchener's third power play goal of the night. Scores tied at 3 after regulation. On to double overtime, 2:05 in. Bill Armstrong shot from the point. Beats the goalkeeper. The final score in this one, Oshawa, the first team under the format to go undefeated in the tournament. The final score, 4-3, Oshawa, double overtime. What an unbelievable finish. You saw it live right here on TSN. Probably one of the best junior hockey games in decades, ladies and gentlemen. It was right here, the final score, 4-3, Oshawa's first Memorial Cup championship since 1944.
The Memorial Cup final last night in Hamilton. It was exactly what you want from a final. It was exceptionally well played, and it couldn't have been closer. It took more than one overtime to decide. When it was over, the Oshawa Generals were champs, and the Kitchener Rangers were left to live with their disappointment. Something the Generals could teach them a thing or two about.
It had been a long time since the Oshawa Generals last won the Memorial Cup. Their last championship was way back in 1946, and up until Sunday night, the Generals had not had much luck in Memorial Cup play. They'd made it to the final 3 times, but they lost all 3 in 1966, then again in 1983 when they were 8-3 losers to the Portland Winterhawks, and finally in 1987. That year, the Generals lost 6-2 to Medicine Hat in the Tigers' first of 2 consecutive wins. This year was different. The Generals beat the Kitchener Rangers, ending their 46-year drought at the Memorial Cup. But the win did not come easily. The game was probably as close as a hockey game could get. It was tied at 1 after 1, tied at 2 after 2, and tied at 3 after 3. Nobody scored in the first overtime, forcing a second overtime frame. Then 2 minutes into the second overtime and close to 4.5 hours after the game had started, Bill Armstrong scored the game winner. The Generals won it 4-3. It's the 4th time Oshawa has won the trophy, but the first in a while.
I just came off the boards, and I got under the shot, and I just shot it. And like our coach says, you know, try and get them on net when they're from the point. And basically, I just shot the puck of the net and hope for the best. And I tell you the truth, I never even saw it go in because there were so many people all over me when I took my head up. I thought it was deflected. You know, I was asking everyone after they pounced on me if it went in. So it did. I didn't even care who scored as long as we won.
The guys worked long and hard all year through adversities, ups and downs, and they pulled it out, and I'm proud of them. I thought they'd be a little bit tired and that we would get on them early, but they came back with they had a lot of poise, and they sort of showed us up in the first period. We were very lucky to get out of there at the tie.
Certainly were. So Oshawa is very happy today. Oshawa has long been a strong supporter of junior hockey, and we've got some of the reaction from today on the streets and reaction from the mayor of Oshawa.
They beat them from the east, and they beat them from the west, and they beat them from Quebec, and they beat everybody in the whole damn place.
Politicians aren't supposed to swear, are they? This was the scene this afternoon in Oshawa as the city welcomed home its champions. About 1,500 people were on hand to congratulate the champs. It was declared Oshawa Generals Day in the city today. Michel Petit was happy.